Hey everyone, I'm Jessica Kramer with MRCTV. Today we're speaking with Loudoun County parent Clint Thomas, who is one of 11 parents suing Loudoun County Public Schools for, quote, moral corruption of children and violation of Virginian constitutional rights with America First Legal. Clint, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So you're one of 11 parents suing Loudoun County schools. What made you and others want to seek legal action?
You know, I'm a Loudoun County dad. I have 5 kids who have gone through Loudoun County Public Schools, and I'm involved in business, and I've been involved in my community and governance here locally for many years now. And I tell you, I don't think anybody saw this coming back in 2019 when this board was elected. We didn't realize how insidious the equity agenda really was, and it turns out it actually started even before then. And so it really hit us first in the face the very first day of school this past year. When my 2 daughters were in high school, they were actually asked on the day one to publicly pronounce what their pronouns are going to be this year, both in public, setting that's public, as well as some of the classes in writing. And we just shook our head like, no, that's not going to work. That's a clear violation of what 8040 was designed to do. And so we immediately contacted the school, and even the principal admitted that that was a violation. And, from there, we've learned even now that Regulation 8040 apparently shuts parents out and denies them knowledge if their child is expressing a different gender in the class in the schoolhouse. And so we are filing this lawsuit because we tried everything else. And so I represent these 10 other great parents and families, and really there's thousands of parents and teachers and concerned citizens all across Loudoun County that we found that are really just, they've had enough, and they're kind of like saying, hand me a brick. Hand me a brick, we're going to rebuild the wall that this miseducation of our kids has torn down. And the walls of our schoolhouse have been breached with folks that are race and gender activists and those who want to highly sexualize our kids, dumb down our kids. There's dark money influence, and so we are ready to rebuild the wall and protect our kids and restore parental rights.
I love that. Now, you already spoke about how on the first day your kids actually had to, they were asked what their pronouns were. Have you personally had to deal with the school system over any other inappropriate matters involving your own children?
Well, different flavors of that, sure. So it was also early on the vax or test mandate that they tried to impose upon our student athlete who was a junior in high school, and that eventually was indefinitely suspended, thankfully. But it was definitely a threatening thing to us as a family because we didn't feel like we needed to do that. And then, of course, the exposure in the various classrooms to books that were hidden from us at back to school night that we had to confront the teacher about and had to make alternative choices for one of our daughters. Some of the classes, our children are even afraid to speak out publicly because of reprisal from their teacher or other classmates if they try to stand up for traditional values. And really, when the sex assaults happened here in Loudoun County, for a while there, our daughters also were scared to even go to the bathroom alone. They, realized they needed to go with a buddy, and that's just not an environment that any child should have to go through. And lately, honestly, the most insidious thing that I found is in our advisory blocks, our homeroom classes, they were pushing the trans agenda very hard this Pride Month. And we're not here to fight trans theory or any other theory that parents want to teach their children. We're just saying it doesn't belong in the schoolhouse. Teach academics. Leave the non-academics values-based education to the parents. That's the rights that we have. We are the ultimate educators of our children.
Yeah. Well, I was reading through, the litany of listed policies that AFL is targeting. It's very long. Can you tell us some of them? Because it's everything from, CRT to sex ed to, COVID policies. I mean, it's almost like there's not an area that they didn't touch.
Well, we first and foremost feel like the policy 8040 needs to be turned around, halted. We feel like that is overall an equity agenda that is not really about race anymore. It's really about tearing down everything that's working. They're regressing to the mean. They claim to not teach race theory, but in May of 2020, Loudoun County actually hired an equity consultant named Equity Collaborative. And Equity Collaborative in May of 2020 taught Loudoun County public school teachers about the 5 tenets of race, or CRT. And so that's how they're getting it into the schoolhouse. And so more and more things that are coming out from this board and this administration through Superintendent Ziegler are race-based. They are dumbing down our kids. Even our top magnet school, Academies of Loudoun, no longer has pure merit-based admissions. They actually are based also on race and even geographic based admissions. So based on your zip code, where they feel like certain zip codes need to have more students. So it's not just a merit-based admissions process. So merit and achievement and rigor class rankings, those are all being thrown out the window in the name of equity. And we feel like that's tearing down our overall, we're entitled to a free public education that's excellent, free of politics and values. We want to leave the values to the parents.
So what's next in the suit, and what do you think your chances of winning are? How would you like to see this resolved with the school district? Have you heard from them at all?
I believe they have come out with a statement saying that they're not going to respond, and I believe this is going to unfold in the next month or two in some way. What we'd really like is to see an injunction against Policy 8040. We feel like it's been implemented illegally. We have tried everything. We've gone to the board. We've emailed them. We've called them. They're not responding. We've tried to get information through the FOIA process that either they deny under exclusion or they want to charge exorbitant fees to get. So it's been a process now over a year, and for some folks even more than that, to try to restore common sense and sanity and shore up the walls, so to speak, that have been breached. And so this lawsuit is basically our last attempt to restore sanity and protect our kids. They should be protected physically and emotionally. I don't know if you know this or not, there were over 1,000 suicide assessments in Loudoun County Public Schools last year. It's right in their budget. So don't tell me we need Policy 8040 to protect kids from suicide. This school system and this woke agenda is actually pushing kids down the abyss, and it's going to lead to more suicidal ideation. The more lost they get, the more we tell a child that whatever you think is true is your truth, instead of teaching them about objective truth. And anything that is objective truth, or anything that's like the scientific method, anything like even being quiet in class and respectful of your teacher is now considered a property of whiteness. That's not going to stand for us. We are standing with many other parents and teachers and stakeholders who feel like we need to restore some sanity to this educational process.
Yeah, I hope you inspire parents all across the country to take back their school systems, their school boards. Hopefully a lot of you run for office and get a lot of these people out.
Well, thank you. Can I just say parents are the ultimate educators of their children. The school system simply does not have the right, and it should not be their mission, to teach values to our children. That is our job as parents, and that's what we're fighting for. We're not really fighting for left or right, Democratic, Republican. We're saying to all parents, listen, you teach the values you feel appropriate to your children when it is age appropriate. And don't over-sexualize our kids with these books in the libraries and content in the classroom that is graphic and pedophilic. And we just feel like needs to be a sea change in our educational establishment, and we're willing to fight.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. I hope you come back on and tell us what goes on in court. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks.